For over a decade, Frasier captivated audiences with its sharp wit, intelligent humor, and unforgettable characters, becoming one of the most celebrated sitcoms in television history. Its success was driven by an extraordinary cast, from the beloved main ensemble to the many talented guest stars who brought charm and depth to every episode. Sadly, over the years, many of these gifted actors have passed away, leaving behind a lasting legacy of brilliant performances. In this tribute, we remember 37 actors from Frasier who have tragically died, honoring their contributions to the show and the impact they had on fans around the world. John Mahoney joined the cast of Frasier in 1993 at the age of 53, taking on the role of Martin Crane, a gruff yet lovable retired police officer. With his no-nonsense attitude, Martin was a grounding force amidst the highbrow pretensions of his sons, Frasier and Niles. He preferred his beat-up recliner to fine art and opera, offering a sharp, witty counterpoint to their refined tastes. Before Frasier, Mahoney had an impressive career in theater and film, but his rise to mainstream recognition came relatively late. Though he was revered on stage and screen, he privately battled deep insecurities, having endured a lonely childhood as the youngest of 8 in an abusive household. His personal life was marked by solitude, never marrying or having children. A lifelong smoker, he suffered from multiple health problems, including throat cancer, which he beat, only for lung cancer to claim him years later. On February 4, 2018, he succumbed to complications from brain disease and lung cancer at the age of 77.
Dad, what do you think of that view, huh? Hey, that's the Space Needle there.
Oh, thanks for pointing that out. Being born and raised here, I never would have known.
Alice Playten brought the vibrant and offbeat Bonnie to life in 1999, joining Frasier at the age of 52. A veteran character actress with a distinctive voice, Playten was beloved for her work in theater and animation, yet she never attained the level of fame she deserved. Throughout her career, she struggled with health problems, battling diabetes from a young age. Her marriage to graphic designer Joshua White was a rare source of stability, but they were unable to have children, a heartbreak that weighed heavily on her. The later years of her life were consumed by illness, as complications from diabetes led to multiple surgeries, robbing her of the ability to work. As the medical bills piled up, she became increasingly reclusive, her once vibrant spirit dulled by chronic pain. In 2011, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, a disease that progressed rapidly. On June 25, 2011, at the age of 63, she succumbed to heart failure, her body too frail to withstand the fight.
Here.
Oh, it's my special deviled ham in the shape of a football. Oh. But I still need to put on some macaroni laces.
Oh, okay. Well, the kitchen's right down there, and just holler if you need anything.
Conrad Janis entered the world of Frasier in 1997 at the age of 69, portraying Albert, a quirky and eccentric character who brought warmth and oddball humor to the show. Best known for his role in Mork and Mindy, Janis had a long and varied career in both acting and music, excelling as a jazz trombonist. However, behind his talents lay a life riddled with misfortunes. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce, leaving him estranged from his children, a pain he carried for decades. His second wife, Maria, whom he adored, was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and he spent years watching her slowly slip away, unable to save her. Financial troubles followed, as years of medical expenses drained his savings. In his later years, Janis suffered a fall that left him immobile, further robbing him of the joy of playing music. He spent his final days in a nursing home, largely forgotten by the industry he had dedicated his life to. On March 1, 2022, he died from organ failure at the age of 94.
Me, he knows I bought the apartment for its view.
No, you bought that apartment because you're free.
Maybe you can have a view from your balcony in Iraq. Yes.
René Auberjonois made a memorable appearance in Frasier in 2001 as Dr. William Tewksbury, a refined and intellectually formidable psychiatrist. He was 61 when he took on the role, already well known for his work in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and numerous stage performances. Auberjonois was a dedicated artist, but his career was not without struggles. Despite critical acclaim, he often found himself typecast, and financial instability plagued him throughout his life. He married Judith Mihaly in 1963, and they remained together until his death, but the loss of close friends and the grueling nature of the industry left him with bouts of depression. In his final years, he was diagnosed with metastatic lung cancer, a cruel irony for a man whose voice had been his greatest asset. The disease spread quickly, robbing him of his ability to act, to perform, to be himself. He spent his last months in pain, a shell of the man he once was, until December 8, 2019, when he passed away at the age of 79.
Well, she thinks she's psychic, but he doesn't believe her.
Well, no matter who's right or wrong, Niles needs to set up stricter boundaries with his patients.
Christopher Durang played Rudy in 1996 at the age of 47, embodying a humorous and eccentric character known for his unpredictable wit. A brilliant playwright, Durang was praised for his biting satire in works like Sister Mary Ignatius Explains It All for You, but his career was filled with highs and lows, with some of his most ambitious projects failing to gain traction. Though beloved in the theater world, he struggled with depression and anxiety, exacerbated by the unpredictability of the industry. He never married and had no children, instead pouring his energy into his work and close friendships. In his later years, he suffered from logopenic primary progressive aphasia, a cruel neurological disease that robbed him of his ability to communicate. Once known for his razor-sharp wit, he was left struggling to form sentences, trapped in a world of silence. On April 2, 2024, he died at the age of 75, his once brilliant mind overtaken by the very thing he had feared most.
There were no bugs at my party.
What's that on the beach?
I don't know, but it's wearing a boa.
Piper Laurie played Marianne in 1994 at the age of 62, bringing depth and intrigue to a character who was both enigmatic and resilient. Marianne's complexities mirrored Laurie's own life. After being typecast in shallow roles in the 1950s, she walked away from Hollywood for over a decade, only to return with a chilling performance in Carrie. Despite her professional success, her personal life was marked by turmoil. She was married to film critic Joe Morgenstern for 2 decades, but their relationship ended in divorce. She later revealed that she had endured an abusive past, which left deep emotional scars. She had 1 daughter, but as the years went on, declining health made her increasingly reclusive. In her later years, she battled severe mobility issues and a prolonged illness that left her frail and isolated. On October 14, 2023, she died at the age of 91, her final years spent away from the spotlight that had once defined her.
I knew that you hated me, but I just can't believe you could be so cruel.
I was trying to help. She seemed delightful on the phone.
I want $50 right now.
Rosemary Murphy played Carol Larkin in 1997 at the age of 72, portraying a refined and elegant woman whose wisdom and grace left a lasting impression. Carol was a character who exuded quiet strength and dignity, much like Murphy herself. Throughout her career, Murphy gained critical acclaim, particularly for To Kill a Mockingbird and her Emmy-winning role in Eleanor and Franklin, but she often found herself confined to roles of stern aristocratic women. Behind the scenes, her personal life was one of solitude. She never married, never had children, and devoted herself entirely to acting. As she aged, she suffered from severe arthritis, which made her final years painful and isolated. She was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and though she received treatment, her condition worsened. On July 5, 2014, she passed away in hospice care at the age of 89, having outlived many of her peers and fading from the public eye long before her death.
I'm Carol Larkin, my husband Alfred. This is our niece, Wella.
Pleasure, Wella. Nice to see you. Welcome. Please, make yourselves comfortable. I'm just going to run into...
Mako played Sam Tanaka in 1994 at the age of 61, portraying a wise and soft-spoken character whose presence carried quiet strength. A groundbreaking actor, Mako fought tirelessly against Hollywood's racial barriers, co-founding the East-West Players to promote better roles for Asian American actors. Despite earning an Oscar nomination for The Sand Pebbles, he was often relegated to supporting roles, a reality that deeply frustrated him. His personal life was more stable. He was married to actress Shizuko Hoshi and had 2 daughters, but his dedication to his career often kept him away from his family. In 2006, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, a devastating blow that forced him to step away from acting. The disease progressed aggressively, leaving him weak and in constant pain. On July 21, 2006, he died at the age of 72, his life defined by an exhausting battle against an industry that never fully recognized his immense talent.
Is why you are the most respected publisher in the greater Seattle area. That is exactly the idea we were going to pitch to you.
What? Terrific! Well, I'd hate to interrupt.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Linden Chiles played the Dean of Admissions in 2002 at the age of 69, portraying a distinguished and authoritative figure who commanded respect. Chiles had a prolific television career, appearing in shows like Columbo, Murder, She Wrote, and Dallas, but he never reached leading man status. His career was steady but unremarkable, and he often found himself overshadowed by more famous peers. In his personal life, he married young but divorced after several years, and his relationships with his children became strained. Financial difficulties followed him into his later years, forcing him to downsize and take on minor roles long past his prime. His final years were marked by loneliness and declining health, yet he remained fiercely independent. On May 15, 2013, tragedy struck when he fell from the roof of his home while attempting repairs. He was 80 years old, and his sudden, violent death served as a grim end to a life of quiet disappointments and fading relevance.
Well, if they're not going to take the application seriously, how can we...
Jo de Winter was 73 when she portrayed Mrs. Greenway in Frasier in 1994. A warm and nurturing presence, her character brought moments of comfort amidst the show's often chaotic humor. Though she had a long career in television and film, she remained largely in the shadows, never achieving the recognition she deeply desired. Off-screen, Jo led a lonely existence, having never married after suffering a devastating betrayal in her youth. She endured the heartbreak of a miscarriage, and the absence of children weighed heavily on her. As the years passed, she withdrew from the industry, spending her final decade in isolation with only distant acquaintances checking in on her. In her final days, she was reportedly despondent, reflecting on a life filled with unfulfilled dreams. She passed away on January 17, 2016, at the age of 94 due to natural causes, leaving behind little more than faded photographs and forgotten performances.
No way that Eddie could be the father. He's been neutered.
Oh, really? Well, then how do you explain these?
Oh, my God!
William Morgan Sheppard was 63 when he played Mr. Drake in Frasier in 1995, a character of sophistication and mystery that added a touch of intrigue to the series. His real life, however, was a far darker tale. Though respected for his stage and television work, he struggled with typecasting, often landing in the same roles, limiting his professional growth. Behind closed doors, he fought a losing battle with alcoholism, using it as a crutch to cope with the frustrations of an unfulfilled career. His marriage, while intact, was distant. His family had grown accustomed to his emotional absences, and his relationship with his children was strained. In his later years, a severe stroke robbed him of his ability to work, deepening his depression and further isolating him. He spent his final months in a care facility, growing weaker with each passing day. On January 6, 2019, at the age of 86, he died from complications related to the stroke, his once commanding presence reduced to a quiet and tragic end.
Oh, my God. This letter's as soft as a baby's bottom.
Yes, on family night we bring the babies in and do a blindfold comparison test.
Lincoln Kilpatrick was 62 when he played Artie Walsh in Frasier in 1994, a steadfast and loyal friend to Martin, embodying years of camaraderie. In reality, Lincoln's career was marked by immense struggle, as racial barriers kept him from landing the leading roles he deserved. While he worked consistently, he was never truly celebrated, a reality that wore on him over the years. His marriage, though long-lasting, was filled with tensions, frequent arguments, and long stretches of silence. His children, resentful of his constant work schedule, drifted away, leaving him feeling like a stranger in his own home. Financial difficulties mounted in his later years, forcing him to take roles he despised just to stay afloat. In his final months, he battled advanced lung cancer, spending his last days largely alone, reflecting on a career and life that never quite met his aspirations. He died on May 18, 2004, at the age of 72, his passing barely noticed by the industry he had given so much to.
What's that supposed to mean?
I think you know what that means.
No, why don't you tell me what it means?
It means I'm being a lot bigger than you were when I was in here.
You mean when you had that lousy bullet in your hip?
Hey, that lousy bullet.
Robert Prosky was 66 when he played T.H. Houghton in Frasier in 1996, bringing charm and intelligence to the role. Though beloved for his performances in theater and film, he was never considered a household name, something that weighed on him despite decades of hard work. He spent his life prioritizing his craft over personal relationships, leading to a distant marriage in which his wife often felt secondary to his career. His sons admired him but resented his prolonged absences, and the strain remained even into his later years. As he aged, health problems emerged, and heart complications left him increasingly frail. His final days were marked by regret over missed family moments, and the realization that he had given more to his career than to those he loved. On December 8, 2008, at the age of 77, he passed away from complications following heart surgery, his final moments spent in a hospital bed, far from the stage he once loved.
Well, I could see you saying that about Horse, but Little Joe?
That's the great thing about Bonanza. There's something for everyone.
John Cygan played Doug Harvey in 1996 at the age of 42, portraying a lively and humorous character who brought warmth to the screen. Though widely recognized for his voice work in animation and video games, his on-screen career remained overshadowed by bigger names, leaving him frustrated. He worked tirelessly but never achieved the fame he longed for, leading to periods of self-doubt. His marriage initially brought him happiness, but financial stress and career disappointments strained the relationship, creating distance between him and his wife. He had children, but his demanding schedule often kept him away from home, filling him with regret. His greatest tragedies were losing a close friend to suicide, which left him battling depression, and his aggressive battle with cancer, which drained him physically and emotionally. He died on May 13, 2017, at the age of 63, his final years marked by a quiet acceptance of his fate.
To put it in language you can understand.
Niles! This is no time for you to assert yourself.
Your brother's making trouble here. Ooh.
Scott Atkinson was 30 when he played Clive in Frasier in 1996, bringing humor and charm to his brief but memorable role. Yet behind the scenes, his life was marked by turmoil. Struggling with the pressures of Hollywood, he faced repeated career setbacks, with each rejection chipping away at his confidence. Despite early promise, he found himself taking smaller roles, unable to break through in an industry that often discards talent too soon. His personal life fared no better. His relationships were short-lived, ruined by his growing struggles with addiction. As his dreams crumbled, he turned to drugs, seeking solace in substances that only deepened his despair. In the years leading up to his death, he became increasingly isolated, his once bright future now a distant memory. On February 26, 2021, he was found dead at the age of 54 due to a drug-related cause, another casualty of an industry that had long since forgotten him.
Oh, God.
What?
I've got the spot of axle grease on your sweater.
Oh, no, it's all right, really. It's just a ratty old thing. Please, come in.
Fritz Weaver played Sir Trevor Ainsley in 1998 at the age of 72, embodying a refined and intelligent character who exuded sophistication. Weaver, a classically trained actor, gained respect for his stage performances but found Hollywood limiting, often relegated to supporting roles. Despite earning a Tony Award, he never reached the level of fame that matched his abilities, which led to feelings of professional disappointment. His first marriage ended in a painful divorce, leaving emotional scars that lingered throughout his life. While he remarried, his career often kept him away from home, and he struggled to maintain close relationships with his children. His later years were marked by misfortune. First, a devastating financial scam that wiped out much of his savings, forcing him to continue working well into old age, and later, a prolonged battle with illness that left him dependent on caregivers. He died on November 26, 2016, at the age of 90. Robert Loggia played Stefano in 2000 at the age of 70, portraying a bold and captivating character with his signature charm. A veteran of Hollywood, he enjoyed a long and varied career, starring in iconic films like Scarface and Big. Though widely respected, he harbored a deep fear of fading into obscurity, a fear that became a reality in his later years. His marriage lasted decades, but as Alzheimer's disease took hold, it placed immense strain on his family, who struggled to care for him as his mind deteriorated. His tragedies were particularly cruel, watching his once powerful presence diminish into confusion and helplessness, and the loss of several longtime friends, which left him increasingly isolated. As his illness progressed, he became withdrawn, unable to recognize even those closest to him. He died on December 4, 2015, at the age of 85, his legacy left to be remembered only by those who cherished his work.
Yeah, we got a nice table. Right under your picture. Oh, okay. Tonight, no menus. I'm going to take care of everything. Except the bill, of course.
Emmet Walsh played Rich Keckner in 2001 at the age of 66, bringing his signature gruffness and wit to the role. A prolific character actor, he appeared in countless films and TV shows, but despite his undeniable talent, he was never granted leading man status, something that secretly plagued him. Though he was well liked in the industry, he struggled with personal isolation, never marrying and living much of his life alone. He buried himself in work, but as age caught up with him, he was forced to slow down, leaving him with an overwhelming sense of purposelessness. His greatest misfortunes included losing his only sibling, which sent him into a deep depression, and declining health that left him physically weak and dependent on others, something he deeply resented. He died on March 19, 2024, at the age of 88 from cardiac arrest, spending his final years in solitude, a man who had given so much to Hollywood but never felt fully appreciated in return.
Food has to stay out of sight.
Oh, right.
I'll take a slice, though.
Oh, sure.
Hey, did you know...
Joe Flaherty played Herm Evans in 2002 at the age of 61, portraying an eccentric and light-hearted character whose humor masked a deeper loneliness. A master of comedy, Flaherty gained fame through SCTV, yet he struggled to transition to mainstream success. His career was marred by financial instability and a series of failed projects that left him overshadowed by his more prominent peers. His personal life was equally turbulent, his marriage ended in divorce, and his relationships with his two children became distant as his career declined. As he aged, his once energetic performances faded, replaced by a quiet resignation to obscurity. The final years of his life were marked by illness, and as his health deteriorated, he withdrew from public life entirely. On April 1, 2024, he passed away at the age of 82 after a brief illness, his death largely unnoticed by a world that had long since moved on from his comedic brilliance.
All the trash on the riverbanks.
Well, we'll be seeing you on the 4th of July.
Hey, what's this over here? Free liquor? Hey, Sully!
John Glenn, the legendary astronaut, played himself in 2001 at the age of 80, bringing an air of authenticity and inspiration to Frasier. His role was brief but poignant, reflecting his real-life heroism and achievements, serving as a reminder of his historic journey into space. His marriage to Annie Glenn, though enduring, was tested by the pressures of fame and the lingering effects of her severe stuttering condition, which left her socially isolated for decades. While he remained devoted to her, the sacrifices required of his career left deep emotional distances between them. Behind the image of a national hero, Glenn battled profound loneliness, having outlived most of his closest friends. His final years were marked by declining health, with multiple hospitalizations for heart issues. In 2016, he underwent heart valve replacement surgery, but complications followed, leading to a debilitating stroke. On December 8, 2016, he passed away at the age of 95.
Oh, glad to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes, I was the previous narrator on the documentary.
That's a fascinating story.
Well, you've heard her side of the story. Maybe someday you'll hear mine.
David Ogden Stiers played Leland Barton in 2003 at the age of 61, portraying a refined and sophisticated character who exuded intelligence and wit. Stiers was best known for his Emmy-nominated role as Major Charles Emerson Winchester III on MASH*, yet despite his professional success, he harbored deep personal struggles. A deeply private man, he concealed his sexuality for much of his life, fearing the impact it might have on his career. He never married, never had children, and lived much of his life in quiet solitude. Though he eventually came out later in life, the years of secrecy and internal conflict took a heavy toll. His later years were marred by illness, and in 2017, he was diagnosed with bladder cancer. The disease progressed rapidly, leaving him frail and in constant pain. On March 3, 2018, he died at the age of 75, his final days spent in the isolation that had so often defined his life.
I'm assuming you don't go by Niles anymore?
No, this is my producer, Roz Doyle. My brother's not here.
Bob Hoskins played Coach Fuller in 2003 at the age of 61, bringing his signature tough yet endearing presence to the role. A celebrated character actor, Hoskins was best known for Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Mona Lisa, yet his success masked a life filled with personal battles. His first marriage ended in divorce, and though his second marriage brought more stability, his demanding career often kept him away from his family. He struggled with bouts of depression and alcoholism, using work as an escape from his personal demons. In 2011, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a cruel affliction that slowly stripped him of his ability to perform. Forced into early retirement, he withdrew from public life, his once vibrant energy fading into quiet suffering. On April 29, 2014, he died from pneumonia, a complication of his disease, at the age of 71, his final years spent in the shadow of the illness that had taken everything from him.
I thought it might be a little racy, but then I thought, what the hell? What do you think, Frasier?
Oh, it's very, very becoming.
Thank you.
John McMartin played Fletcher Gray in Frasier in 1994 at the age of 65, portraying a dignified and authoritative character. A veteran of stage and screen, McMartin's career spanned decades, yet he was often overshadowed by bigger names, never achieving the widespread recognition his talent deserved. His personal life was marked by loneliness, his marriage to Cynthia Bear ended in divorce, and despite having children, his commitment to work often left him isolated. In his later years, he battled cancer, a long and painful struggle that drained him of his strength. As his condition worsened, he withdrew from public life, spending his final days in declining health and solitude. On July 6, 2016, he passed away at the age of 86, his immense talent fading quietly, his name remembered only by those who had truly appreciated his work.
For it this year? You know, sending out gifts, throwing one of those parties. I bet you'd have something to say on your radio program about someone who's that self-absorbed.
I bet he could do a whole hour.
Phil Donahue, the legendary talk show host, made a guest appearance as Larry in Frasier in 1999 at the age of 64, bringing his trademark charisma to the role. Though widely regarded as a pioneer in television, his personal life was far from the picture-perfect image he projected. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce, and while he later found love with Marlo Thomas, their relationship was often strained by his unrelenting dedication to his career. He was plagued by guilt over the distant relationship he had with his children from his first marriage, a regret that haunted him in his later years. In the final decade of his life, his health deteriorated rapidly, forcing him to retreat from the public eye. The once dominant voice of daytime television grew weaker, as a prolonged illness left him bedridden. On August 18, 2024, at the age of 88, he passed away after a long battle with illness, fading into the background of a media world that had moved on without him. Christopher Reeve played Leonard in Frasier in 1993 at the age of 41, portraying a charismatic and intelligent character. Reeve was internationally recognized as Superman, but his career was plagued by the struggle to break free from the iconic role, leaving him often overlooked for more diverse opportunities. Despite his strong marriage to Dana Morosini and their son Will, tragedy struck in 1995 when a horse-riding accident left him paralyzed from the neck down. Once a symbol of physical strength, he became entirely dependent on a ventilator, leading to deep depression and relentless health battles. His advocacy for spinal cord research became his new mission, but his body weakened over time. After years of medical complications and infections, Reeve suffered cardiac arrest on October 9, 2004, and fell into a coma. He died the next day, October 10, 2004, at the age of 52 from heart failure, leaving behind a legacy of resilience overshadowed by unimaginable suffering. Mary Tyler Moore played Marjorie in Frasier in 1994 at the age of 58, embodying a strong-willed and sophisticated character. A groundbreaking actress, she changed television history with The Mary Tyler Moore Show, yet behind the success lay a life filled with sorrow. She battled alcoholism for years, her struggles exacerbated by the death of her only son, Richie, in 1980 from an accidental self-inflicted gunshot wound. Though she found lasting love with her third husband, Robert Levine, the pain of her past haunted her. Diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 33, she suffered severe complications, including near blindness and mobility issues. Her later years were marked by hospitalizations and declining health, and by 2017, her body had reached its limit. On January 25, 2017, she died at 80 from cardiopulmonary arrest brought on by aspiration pneumonia, her final years a tragic contrast to the cheerful image she had once projected. Bruno Kirby played Mako in Frasier in 1993 at the age of 44, bringing a lively, comedic energy to the role. Known for his performances in The Godfather Part 2, When Harry Met Sally, and City Slickers, Kirby was a talented character actor, yet he often found himself typecast and struggling for leading roles. His professional frustrations ran parallel to his personal struggles. Though he was married to actress Lynn Sellers, they had no children, and Kirby remained intensely private. In 2006, he was diagnosed with leukemia, a disease that advanced with brutal speed. His health declined rapidly, and the once energetic performer became frail and unrecognizable. Withdrawing from the public eye, he endured the painful deterioration of his body, barely able to speak in his final days. On August 14, 2006, he died at the age of 57, his life and career tragically cut short by a cruel and merciless illness. Who is your favorite character in Frasier? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.